Okay, we'll be talking about the arithmetic operations. What I mean by that, like the regular operations that we use, such as addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and also we'll be talking about modulus. So let's have an example. Let's say we have a variable of type integer, and then we want to perform an addition operation. So, for example, 5 plus 7. So this is just like a normal math. You just add these two numbers. So if I want to print the value of x after performing this operation, as you may expect, so we're going to get 12. Okay. Now, what about subtraction? So if I want to subtract, say, 5 from 12, so the difference is, of course, 7. Okay, and then we have also the multiplication. For multiplication in programming, we use the asterisk. So asterisk refers to multiplication. So 12 times 5 is 60. So 60 will be saved in the variable x. Now, for the division, you need to be very careful. So when we divide, so try to remember this or take notes. When you divide an integer over integer, you get only the integer part of the answer. So 12 divided by 5, it's 2.4, right? But only 2 will be saved. Only 2 will be saved. So which means the decimal part of it will be ignored. So as you can see right here, when I try to run the program and then print x, you get only 2. So 0.4 is just ignored. Okay. Now the question, how can I save the decimal? How can I keep the decimal? Now there are two ways to do that. First one, to save, you have to have a variable of type double. Because if you keep it like an integer, okay, like for example, if you divide 12.0 divided by 5, so that's the only way you can get the decimal, is one of them. Either the numerator or denominator has to be a decimal by putting 0.0. Okay, but the problem here, when you divide the decimal by an integer, you're going to get a decimal and you cannot save it. We talked about this. You cannot save it in integer, so you get an error here. So try to run the program, say you're going to get an error because, as I said, that you cannot save a double into an integer. So you have to change to double. So now you're going to keep the decimal. Why? Because the numerator, in this case 12, is a decimal number. So you're going to get 2.4. Or you can do it by changing the denominator to 5.0. Or by casting any one of them. So that's another option. Especially when you have a variable, you cannot put variable a.0. So you have to cast it to double. So these are the choices or the options you have to keep your decimal. Either you cast it, so it's like a temporary conversion from 12 to 12.0. So this also will give me 2.4. Or you can do the same thing with 5. But be careful, sometimes you may have parentheses here. So if you have parentheses, now what do you think I'm going to get? So when you have a parentheses, the division will take place first. So that means 12 over 5 will be evaluated first. Remember, integer over integer, you're going to get 2. Then, and only then, it will be converted to double. So that's going to give you 2.0. So you need to be very careful here. Okay, so when you cast, make sure you cast only one of them. Okay, if you put the parentheses, that means Java will process the division first, then cast it to double. Okay, now what about the order of operation? Is there any order of operation? Yes, the good news is it's the same thing as in algebra, what you learned in algebra. So using the PEMDAS as an example. So PEMDAS, that means the parenthesis comes first, exponent, multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction. So before we move on to the order of operation, we forgot to talk about the modulus. So let's change it back to integer. And then we have, now what is the modulus? Modulus is just another way to say remainder. And then we use this symbol for it, the percentage sign. So 12 mod, and we say mod, so we can say 12 mod 5. That means when you divide 12 by 5, what is the remainder? So when you divide 12 by 5, you get 2, and the remainder is 2. Now, what about if I have 19? So 19 mod 5, that means when you divide 19 by 5, you get 3. So 3 times 5 is 15, the remainder is 4. So remainder is 4. So when I try to run the program, you're going to see that 4 is the answer, because that's the remainder. Now let's talk about the order of operations. So for example, if I have an expression, whatever it is, let's say for example 4 plus and then 19 divide by 3 plus 21 mod 6. For example, let's say we have this expression. So how does Java evaluate this expression? Now, according to PEMDAS, remember, parentheses comes first. We don't have any parentheses here. And then exponents, we don't have any exponents. And then MM stands for multiplication, modulus, and division. All of them, they have the same level, whatever comes first from left to right. So the multiplication, division, and modulus take place before addition and subtraction. So in this case, we're not going to start with 4.19 because addition is at the end. So we start with multiplication, modulus, and division, whatever comes first from left to right. So from left, division is before the remainder. So I'm going to start with 19 over 3. So 19 over 3 will give me what? So remember, integer over integer is only integer. So that's going to give me 6. 6. So I have 4. I'm not going to perform the addition, so I'm going to keep it that way. And then I'm going to multiply by plus 6. So 6 is the result of 19 over 3. Okay? So you ignore the decimal, right? And then after division, I'm going to evaluate the modulus. So 21 mod 6. When you divide 21 by 6, what is the remainder? So 21 divided by 6, you're going to get 3. So 6 times 3 is 18, and 18, so 3 is the remainder. Now the last operation is addition. So I'm going to put here 4 plus 6 is 10. So the answer is 13. 13. So we have 4 plus 6 plus 3. So the answer is 13. So let's check. So run the program and see what we're going to get. And sure enough, we got 13. Okay. So we always follow the PEMDAS. So this, which means like you start with the parentheses, exponent, modulus, multiplication, division, then addition and subtraction at the end. Okay, so this is about the arithmetic operations. So in the next lecture, we're going to be talking about arithmetic expressions. Okay, so see you in the next lecture.